I'm live. Yeehaw. So here we are at that little moment at the start of a live broadcast, which is just for people who watch it back later, because it takes sometimes up to a couple of minutes for people to actually join the live broadcast, sometimes only a few seconds. But this is just special. This is me. I'm not talking to myself. I am not sitting in my kitchen talking to myself. I'm talking to you, and the proof is you're watching that. That is an interesting, I don't know if philosophical is the right word, but is it a conundrum? Is it, yeah, I think it's a philosophical question. Am I talking to myself if someone sees me talking about talking to myself? Hi there, auriculus eels, however that might be pronounced. But I'm going to start by posing that question. If no one sees me at the bit when I'm talking at the intro and video, if no one ever watches it back, did it even happen? Ori, that is actually more manageable. Thank you for that abbreviation. Starting the broadcast with a philosophical question about whether if I just talk before anyone gets here, am I talking to myself? If no one ever watches the video back, this is if a tree falls in the forest and no one's there, does it make a sound question? Did I really talk to myself if no one watches it? But if someone watches it, obviously I wasn't talking to myself. It's Schrodinger's talking to myself. The only way you can know whether I'm talking to myself is by watching. And then if you watch, I'm not talking to myself. So you change the result by observing it. That's a head scratcher. That's the head scratcher right there. Yeah, level out my beard. Why are you going to do that? Weird seeing yourself and you go, wait, my beard's off kilter. I must straighten up my beard. But, yes, so glad you agree that it's a big philosophical question, Ari. It's the nature is like, so it reminds me of all the arguments people have about selfishness is a sign of narcissism. It's like, well, I think it's a sign of egalitarianism and sharing. It's like, you know, because rich people would pay fortunes to have portraits of themselves to hang, and now the portraiture has been democratized. It's cast as a bad thing. I'm always a little bit suspicious of that. It's like, oh, it was better before everyone could do it. That just, I don't know, snobbery or elitism. I'm not really down with saying other people aren't allowed to have something. I don't like it as much if other people have it. I think, gross, my nose is a bit runny. I'm going to grab a tissue. I'll do it off camera because blowing my nose on camera would be gross, which means I'd probably do that later because I do gross things, but just go over here. Ugh. Tissues down. Okay. Okay. Right. Secret. Good, you're reading the thing. It's not really a secret if I tell people about it, is it? But I'll wait till there's more people around. But I have started work on a long-term project that will ultimately be revealed. It will be starting in stealth mode. I suppose I'm just teasing, Ori. In as much as I do intend to make that a topic of conversation, talking about what I will be doing. But of course the exact things you won't see, it is a video project and you just won't see the videos for a while. So it's secret in that sense, that takes a while to build up. So it's not a secret in as much as I'm going to tell people about it, but it's a secret in as much as you won't actually see it for a while. So, and also that's a bit clickbaity really. Secret project. You want to know about my secret project, don't you? I'm gonna do a video. I'll have to remember to do it. Maybe even just saying it here will remind me to do it. You know the weird thing that YouTubers they've now started calling them story time videos, and they often do really clickbaity, exaggerated titles. I almost died. And it's like, you know, they coughed up a fishbone or something. I used to do videos years ago that I called story time, and I called them just that because they were true stories, because normally I'm making stuff up or exaggerating stuff. But if it was a simply true story, I called it story time. Hi, Celtic King. And now apparently story time means someone's making some shit up. I think I need the angle of this a bit different. I'm just going, yeah, that looks a bit more like it. Too much space above my head, maybe a little bit more. Oh, wait a sec, I see what I have to do here. Playing with my tripod here, and that. That's a bit better. Bit better, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit more. What's it doing? Oh yeah, that's it, that's better. Yes, see a bit more. My t-shirt that's sort of inspired by bad Christmas sweaters. But yes, I did see the Doctor Falls. That was a pretty intense episode, wasn't it? I have the Trump hooker pics. Well, okay, that's very clickbaity. If I had the Trump P tapes from Russia, no, it's nothing quite that extravagant. It's something that I'm working on. That you won't see for a while because it's a long-term project, but I've started working on it. I'm drinking lemonade. AngryAussie's okay. Still not well enough to come over. He's promising another video. He says he shot another video on a phone. It must be a big file or something because he's having trouble emailing it. I have to explain Dropbox to him one day, I think. Yes, so you might get another AngryAussie video this week. He's promising another one. Yes, wasn't this a good season overall of Doctor Who? Like most seasons, you know, there's some up and down between the episodes, and I guess depending on your personal taste, you're going to have a different view of which were the better ones. But it finished really strongly, didn't it? That was a really good episode to finish on. So, and now we got like 6 months till the Christmas special. New Doctor Who for 6 months. Yeah, Capaldi's finishing on a high note. That's the thing. Now he's going to have a Christmas special with the Doctor, the first Doctor. It'll be fun to see what they do with that. Because he's obviously, his body's been really badly damaged and he's regenerating, but he keeps trying to hold back the regeneration, and he's somehow going to have some revelation with his first incarnation. Biori, maybe they'll do that. Maybe they'll both regenerate together. Does AngryAussie have a YouTube channel? Yes and no. He doesn't put anything on it anymore. I put a lot of his Code Grey stuff. There's a channel called AngryAussie Code Grey. It has the full-length stage show that he did a couple of years ago, Code Grey. Some behind-the-scenes videos that I shot, and then some other stuff that he's shot in between. But he hasn't added anything to that channel for a couple of years. But there is a channel there that has stuff on it that if you've never watched and you're an AngryAussie fan, you may enjoy, because there is some good stuff on there. Particularly if you've never seen the Code Grey show, you should watch that, because that's basically his whole colourful life as a stage show. And we really must do webisodes of that at some point. Oh well. So yes, there is an AngryAussie Code Grey, and of course he's on my channel as well. Sean Pertwee to play his dad. A few people have suggested Sean Pertwee could easily play the third Doctor, who was played by his dad, John Pertwee, who was a very cool, suave individual. A lot of his time as the Doctor, he's wearing like a velvet smoking jacket. Very, very cool look. And he was very physical. He was the first really physical Doctor. He would do Venusian Aikido, his martial art, where he'd throw bad guys. Not many Doctors did that. But yes, the third Doctor did. He was into physical violence. it was also funny because when he started, the BBC had cut back the budget of the show, and so they didn't have a lot of money for sets and whatnot, so they came up with a plot device that meant the Doctor couldn't leave Earth, so a whole season was just shot on Earth with, you know, Unit, and that was a budgetary thing, but they made a good show of it. I quite like the John Pertwee episodes. I saw them a lot as a kid. Oh, yes. Sean Pertwee is in a British movie called Dog Soldiers, about some British soldiers who are on exercises, and they get sort of isolated in the moors, and there's a family of werewolves there. And I think the big thing is they don't have any live ammunition. They only had blanks because it was just an exercise, and a group of soldiers trying to fight werewolves. And it's funny, but it's also an exciting action film. It is worth watching if you've never seen it. Dog Soldiers, and most of the soldiers are fairly shitting themselves once they realise, oh, okay, this is actually werewolves we're fighting. But there's one who's like a gung-ho nutter, and everyone I know in the military says, yeah, one in every squad. There is always one, just some psycho who wants glory. And while everyone else is going, this is it, we're going to die, he's so excited. He's going, this is like Rorke's Drift, isn't it? Fighting impossible odds, you know, dying gloriously. And they're just going, what the fuck is wrong with you? And he's in it to the end. Like, he just wants, like, yes, glory. And when everyone else is going, no, this is scary and fucked up and we don't like it, he's like, this is awesome. He's a very funny character. But yeah, Sean Pertwee's done quite a bit over the years, TV and movies. He's not a huge star, but he's done a lot of stuff. He was even in that Kurt Russell science fiction thing, Soldier, as a colonist. So he's done a lot over the years. He was in some weird... There was a British surfing movie, of all things. Not something you really associate with Britain. Surfing's called Blue Juice or something. Yeah. It'd be like an Australian film about the Australian aristocracy, not something you would actually expect. But yeah, a British surfing movie that had Sean Pertwee in it. That was a few years ago, obviously. He was a youth when he made that one. But yeah, all sorts of things. Yes, Rorke's Drift was a pretty intense thing. And that old movie, Zulu, with Michael Caine and whatnot, that is a great movie. And I think it's reasonably close to what happened. For those who don't know, Rorke's Drift happened in Africa, where a bunch of Zulus decided they were going to destroy this British fort. And the British were outnumbered probably 100 to 1. Of course, the Zulus didn't have any guns, they just had spears, but they had massive numbers. And I think it still holds the record for the most awarded Victoria Crosses, you know, the highest award in the British Army for gallantry. From a single engagement, the most Victoria Crosses awarded. Because, you know, when you're absolutely surrounded and no way out, you know, you pull out all stops, I guess. So, and is it wrong that I really like that Michael Caine's blonde in Zulu? Because he's never blonde. He's a brunette naturally, and he's bleach blonde in Zulu. And for some reason I go, hi Tendai. Oh dear. Now there's a guy who's had an interesting career too, Michael Caine. What's like 4 or 5 decades of movies? A lot of crap in there, but a few good ones. And hello to you, Toby. Oh, who saw? There's one. I don't know if it's his most recent film, but he plays a retired soldier, and it's the movie name is just a person's name. It's like Harry something, and it's this old retired soldier who has a run-in with some rough nuts on the housing estate, and Harry Brown. That might be it, Tendai. You might be right. And it's the oldest, Hollywood story. Is like, it's like the Death Wish story. A decent man who's pushed too far. And, he stages a bit of a fight back against the thugs on the housing estate. But probably my favourite bit of it, when it looks like things are going to go wrong for him and a junkie pulls a gun on him, and is going to shoot him, but his gun jams, and Harry just goes in that Michael Caine accent, "Oh dear, you have failed to take proper care of your sidearm. You have not cleaned it regularly. That sort of thing will have you up on a charge." And he's just so cold and calculating because this gimp has a dirty gun that jammed when he tried to fire it. And like, ooh. The Angry family are fine, thank you. I got you thinking about Rob Brydon and Steve Coogan and their Michael Caine offs. They've got another one of those movies out, The Trip. Those movies are weird. Has anyone seen them? They did one that was just called The Trip, where they were driving around England eating food. It was like they were playing themselves, but it was fictionalized. It was kind of like a documentary, but there was some bits of it fictionalized. And the second one was called The Trip to Italy. And now they've got another one out. I haven't seen the third one. I've seen the first two. Do I get a lot of mail, video dude? Not a lot. Oh my God, I've got a mailbag. I kept some stuff. I got postcards and stuff people sent me. I meant to do a mail call with AZ months ago and I didn't. Hey Captain Fizzman, how are you doing? I get some mail, yes. What did I get recently? Our friend sent me the Neil Gaiman colouring book, which is awesome. Neil Gaiman's my favourite author, and there was this thing that was only released in a few bookstores, specialist bookstores in America. They have all the adult colouring books these days. This one was the Neil Gaiman colouring book, and a friend sent it to me like it was impossible to get here. And a complete surprise, just opened the mail and there it was. I mean, do I get much mail? I did get that New Testament the other day. Where was it? Here it is. It's still here in its VHS case for some reason. This is my most recent bit of mail, a New Testament from someone's failed bid to save my soul. What I would really like, if someone was going to be loony and try and save my soul, is if they sent me a bunch of Jack Chick tracts, because those things are awesome. They're just so separated from reality. It's awesome. If you've never seen them, look it up online. The guy's, he died recently, but his name was Jack Chick, C-H-I-C-K. It's probably just jackchick.com. And these little badly made comics that were called tracts, T-R-A-C-T-S. He had, yes, Peter, he had a D&D one, but he has them about everything. Everything's the fucking devil as far as he's concerned. And they do those absolutely brilliant leaps of unreality that religious people who are detached from reality make. Did they try and make a movie? They should have. There should be Jack Chick movies. That's something that we all need. Jack Chick movies would be something spectacular. Oh God, there was that movie a couple years ago that was, it was like a Bible thing, but it was this really anti-Muslim movie, and none of the actors making it knew it because they were all English speaking, and they acted out all this stuff, and then it was overdubbed in Arabic to be this really anti-Islam propaganda. And so everyone in it's getting death threats, and they had no idea why, because what they filmed wasn't anti-Islam, but it got overdubbed in Arabic, this incredibly anti-Islam stuff, and it was circulated all through the Middle East. Like, how would you be if someone did that to you? Yeah, that's criminal. That's putting people in danger. I mean, that was ridiculous. I mean, I'm a bad person, so I laughed at it, but that was shocking. I was so fucked up, Ori. It was just, no, you don't do that to people. Hey, Mint, long-time subscriber and commenter. Love it. Love this is the other thing, like, long-term, for a lot of people means 10 years or even longer, because that's how long I've been doing the YouTube thing. And some people have been around since the start and have stuck around. You know, as I said in the last broadcast when people were talking about how long they've been watching, I like, you know, the OG viewers. I like people who've stuck around for years, and I like new viewers. It's always good. It's good to get a mix. Like, it's good to sort of form a connection with people. Have people come in, even people who, like, you know, have been away for a while, haven't watched my videos, and I do get these comments occasionally, and I do like them. Someone go, "Oh my God, I haven't watched your videos in years. I had no idea you were still making them." Yeah, surprise! I'm still here. You know, against all better judgment, I'm still here. So, it's a mixed bag in this world. You know, new faces, old faces. Same as we have face-to-face meetups here in Melbourne quite a lot. Organise them through Facebook a lot these days. And that's the thing, some people have been coming to these meetups for years, since we first started having them about 8-9 years ago. But every time we have one, there's always some new people as well. There's always people coming along for the first time. Oh, cool, you sent some Quran. See, I should read the Quran. I've read the New Testament. I went to Catholic school. Man. Oh yeah, Peter. About at least half of all the people who've ever seen my stuff came from Mr. Safety. He was a huge part of me getting any sort of audience. I should read the Quran. If you send me the Quran, I'll try and read it. I read the New Testament, probably not all of it, but I went to Catholic school, man. We had to read this all the time. I won a Bible knowledge quiz at school, right? Everyone had to take it, you know, 100 questions in it. I actually won by a fair bit, I think. And guess what the prize was? A New Testament. How fucking useless is that? I already proved I know it all. What? Why would I clearly don't need it. I clearly don't need it, because I knew it better than everyone else. So why are you going to give it to me again? That's weird. That was weird. That was a weird choice of a prize for a Bible knowledge competition. I mean, even, you know, the Pope had probably written a book. Why didn't they give me the Pope's book? Why didn't they give me the Bible? I just proved that I knew the Bible. Give me something different. It was ridiculous. But, like, no joke, when I was a kid, I liked the Christian music. Like, well, actually, a lot of Christians don't think Jesus Christ Superstar is a Christian musical, because I think it's supposed to be from Judas's point of view, isn't it? But I really like the Jesus Christ Superstar soundtrack. I want to g'day there, Itchy, and hello, Catherine. That's it, Catherine. That's like banks with loans, only giving to you when you don't need it. Oh, Bertie Wooster won a Bible Knowledge Prize in Jeeves and Wooster. I haven't read Jeeves and Wooster, but Stephen Fry and Hugh Laurie made some TV versions of it, and I did see some of those. I didn't see all of them, but I did see some of those. Hey, J Shady on Twitter. Yeah, my favourite thing about all the weird stuff like that Hugh Laurie has done, all the stuff he did with Stephen Fry and the Blackadder stuff, like, because in America, the first time a lot of people had seen him was when he was House, which was a great show. I loved House, and I loved Hugh Laurie in House. But a lot of Americans, as far as they were concerned, that was Hugh Laurie, and they thought he was American as well. I used to so enjoy blowing people's minds who liked House, who didn't know anything about Hugh Laurie, showing them the stuff, particularly the stuff he did in Blackadder, was so different to House. It was amazing. And yes, Video Dude, I'll at least attempt to read the Quran, because you know, I believe in giving all these texts a chance, not criticizing them too much until I've read them. So, you know, that's why people say, why do you pick on Christians so much and not on Islam? I think all religions are crap. I just happen to know Christianity better because I was raised in it. Message of Hugh Laurie and Bemmel Flink Flumble Snatch has the same American. I tell you what, good old Bumble Snatch Cumberflap, he does a quite creditable Australian accent in the movie where he plays Julian Assange. I forget what the movie's called, if it's just called WikiLeaks or whatever. But yeah, Bembleflap plays Julian Assange, and he does a really creditable Australian accent, and very few people can do that. I thought he actually did a pretty good one. Too bad he can't say penguin. I didn't know he had that problem. That a speech impediment he has. Hey, Bo. No, everything's good. Oh, well, you're a bit late, I suppose. Been going for about half an hour. But I'll be around probably for at least another hour. So, you know, as the usual, Star Trek's happening. And then, why am I pointing in two directions? Being a nerd fighter. No. Star Trek's happening. Book of Mormon. Ugh. Actually, Video Dude, you know, this was a funny thing that I saw years ago. And by years ago, I mean like about 10 years ago on YouTube. Someone posted this video. There was a thing, and it was, I don't know, it was the Church of Satan or something. I forget what the book was. Whether it was the Satanic Bible or, you know, some other atheist book. It was, they would send you this book for free, and all it would cost you was your soul. You had to post a video saying these couple of sentences, and these lines would basically classically get you excommunicated from the Catholic Church. It was something about not believing in God, the Trinity, the Virgin, or something. Patman, you are right. The Fifth Estate was the name of that movie about Julian Assange and WikiLeaks, wherein Bemble Snotch Flumbleflap does a really good Australian accent, quite creditable. And that was interesting because that movie's done from the point of view of the other guy, not Julian Assange. So, unsurprisingly, it paints Julian Assange as a little bit of a dick. Because basically there's two sorts of people in the world. Julian Assange worshippers and people who think he's a dick. Well, actually, there's probably three groups. It's Julian Assange worshippers, really reactionary people who think he's committing treason and should be executed and hung out, and people are just thinking, oh my God, he's such a dick. I'm in the he's a dick camp. But I look at sometimes and think, I'm not sure it's completely his fault, because people built this Messiah image around him, and I think you can only be told you're a Messiah-like person for so long before you start to think you are. So I think other people bear some responsibility for Assange's dickishness. He bears ultimate responsibility for it. But I think, you know, to have people continually tell you you're the most amazing man in the world and you're going to save the world and you're incredible, it's going to go to your head after a while. You can only be told, you know, you're the second coming of Christ so many times before it starts to have an effect on you. I'm getting the very bad connection notice again. G'day, WAV Productions in Brisbane. Video Dude, the Mormons, I've not had an enormous amount of interaction with Mormons. I do, honestly, I regard Mormonism as the Ralph Wiggum of Christianity. Like, it's so stupid. But individual Mormons aren't necessarily bad people at all. A lot of them are good people. A lot of them do good works. I just think their belief structure is exceptionally stupid. I don't have time for any religion, but Mormonism is just like, what? That guy, Joseph Smith, was obviously a con artist. He was obviously a scammer. He was obviously a liar. Oh my God. Yeah, well, Scientology is just a modern day scam. Scientology is not even a religion. It is just a mind control scam cult. And this is one of the problems I have with a lot of really outspoken atheists, is they'll just go, no, all religions are the same. You know, Mormonism isn't any more stupid than mainstream Christianity. Scientology isn't any more creepy than... Yes, there are differences, okay? Scientology is a preconceived scam. Oh, J-dubs, they're loonies. Yeah, no, Jehovah's Witnesses, they're loonies. Did I see a video of a Christian dude running over a Ten Commandments statue? I did not see that. That sounds interesting. I did see Louis Theroux's Scientology movie. It was quite interesting. What he did in that was quite interesting. And he did quite successfully show that Scientologists are weird and paranoid and vengeful. But isn't it... I don't know about anyone else, but when people, whether they're fallen Scientologists or they're outside Scientology, but they maniacally focus on Scientology, how often they do not come across very well. Like, a lot of the attacks I've seen on Scientology for people who are obsessed about attacking Scientology, I go, what? You're not making much of a case. Ooh, Scientologists are loony. Yeah, we know that. And you're just sort of foaming at the mouth about it. You don't come off very well at all. Like, people, there was that one video that got leaked, the Tom Cruise in a black turtleneck, with what you can do as a Scientologist is this, and people go, oh my God, how crazy is that? It's not crazy at all. It's a really standard corporate training video. He doesn't say anything crazy in that. He's just about, you know, belief in this, and every corporate non-religious G-Up session I've ever been is exactly like that. Craig Ferguson is pretty funny. I have not seen his parody of it, but he is pretty funny. And bonjour to you too, Angie Schwager. Oh God, I've already drunk my drink. Oh well, I need that to keep my throat lubricated while I talk. But I drink fairly compulsively when I tend to drink reasonable volumes. Like at work during the day, I probably drink a couple of litres, because I have this really big, you think, what is this? About a pint, I suppose. I think my little skull glass is about a pint, but I have this really big glass at work. Probably holds about, I don't know, 600 or 700 mils, and I'll have upwards of half a dozen glasses of that water, and I might have cola as well during the day. Might have a couple of drinks of cola during the day. So in terms of volume of liquid I drink a fair amount. So, and if I've got a drink there, I tend to drink it fairly compulsively. So, but that's all well and good. Well, look, okay, look, I've been rambling for half an hour. I might ramble a bit about my secret project that I put in the title of this. Yes, Tenda, I do have to keep myself hydrated, but it's actually more not make my throat go dry and have a coughing fit. Okay, my secret project, the thing I've started working on. I have posted a couple of videos on my channel, and I did a live stream on this, a thing called tapping, also known as EFT. It's a psychology counseling technique where sorry, as a side, yes, video dude, I pee a lot. But tapping, EFT, is a psychology counseling technique, And it seems really strange if you've never seen me do it. You literally tap bits. You would tap here, and then here, then here, then here, 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 and then you do that. And you do it on particular topics, and it can be used to help people with psychological issues, trauma, and various other things that you need counselling for. But it can also be used for much more mundane things. And when I did it on the live stream and a pre-recorded video, it was about eating. You can do it. I have really bad eating habits. Like, didn't eat any vegetables. I was very bad because yuck, I don't like them. I don't like the taste. And you can do this tapping process and change the way you think about vegetables. So after doing tapping, like I'll eat raw onion, capsicum, carrot, celery, zucchini, all these things I never ate before, I now eat all the time. But it can also go the other way. You can use it for food cravings. If there's things that you feel like you can't resist, whether it's, it's chocolate or chips or McDonald's or something, and you think, I shouldn't eat so much of that, but I can't resist. You can do this tapping thing and it takes away the cravings. It doesn't make you dislike the food, but most people have a craving. It's like, oh my God, if that's in front of me, I just have to eat it. I can't do it. You can actually take away that compulsion to eat it. And so it can be a real help with your diet. And here's a shocking revelation that none of you will have picked up on by physically seeing me. I am a fat bastard, and I really need to lose weight for health reasons and just for general well-being. I'm also old. I can't change being over 50, but if I lose the excess weight I have, that takes a lot of stress off my body. Yes, Johnny, I'm the only person I will fat shame. There's no getting around I'm a fat bastard. Like, I'm just short of the medical level of morbidly obese. Would it work for things like porn? Video Dude, I think it could. If you felt like you couldn't resist watching porn and wanted to, I believe it would work. With a proper practitioner, you could step through the feelings, because there's often something behind it. This is also why you want to do it with a practitioner, because if you've got any sort of compulsion, and this includes overeating, there's often something behind it. And if you're doing it with someone who's not a proper counsellor, then if you uncover something, like maybe there's some abuse in your past that's pushed you in this way. If you're not doing it with a proper counsellor, it can go all tits up really quickly. But Mrs. Angry is a counsellor who's wow, I found sugar and booze 40 kilograms in 2 years. Pfft, that is awesome, man. I've probably got to lose about 30 kilograms. Yeah, Catherine, it's bad if people slag you for big bad ads. I am thoroughly aware that over 50 years old, buddy, beats the alternative, which is, of course, being dead. You've got two chances: get older or die. So I'm going to stick with getting older. So my secret project, I worked on this with Mrs. Angry, who is a counsellor, psychologist counsellor, and she's done training in these techniques. There's a university professor in Queensland at Bond University who's one of the leading researchers into it, who does advanced training on it. And Mrs. Angry's gone and done training courses on this. And we worked this out the other day. We were talking about it, and like, it's absolutely incredible. Oh, EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques, which sounds dorky, but which is probably why they use the acronym. So the project is, I'm the project. Turning my life around is the project. And it's not just going to be about weight. That's a central thing. The central thing is to lose weight. So the goal would be over 6 months, lose about 20 kilos. Over a year, lose 30 plus kilos. But also some other aspects of life, because it's all about mindset. And this can really help with mindset when you start to think about barriers that may stop you from doing all the things you want, to being particularly happy in various things. And I'm going to record videos of all of this, and I will put them up. I'll be on a secret channel for a while. Once it gets to the stage where I've got everything rolling, basically I'm going to be cheating a little bit in I'm not going to make them public until there starts to be results. And I think that will probably take about 2 months. Like literally just started this on the weekend. So I think it'll probably take about 2 months to lose enough weight for it to be noticeable. Like if everything's going well, in 2 months I could lose 8 to 10 kilos depending. And that's like a noticeable amount of weight. I'm getting the very bad connection thing again. I did see, depends what setting you have at your end. Someone commented last time, if it started to lag or stutter, you adjust your settings to a lower resolution and that usually fixes it up. Hopefully I don't drop out altogether. So yeah, the secret project is me. It's turned my life around. And this is not to say I'm miserable. I haven't set it up yet, Video Dude. I do have a second channel that I haven't posted anything to for ages, which is called Less AngryAussie. You get it? I'm less angry on that channel. Actually haven't set up the channel yet, and I will set up a new channel and I'll publicize it. And I am aiming, I guess, at, being a bit inspirational, showing that you can change and turn things around, because there are so many scam artists out there, like just full-on scammers, like, that David Avocado Wolf who says brain dead shit, and that girl who faked having cancer so she could say her clean living cures cancer. So when there's so many bullshit artists out there, it's just spreading absolute lies. And I've seen this technique that works, that actually works, and there's no better evidence for that than if I changed myself. That's it, Belle Gibson. And yes, she is an evil bitch. I think she has some mental health issues there. Like, I think she got to the stage where she no longer knew what was real and what was fantasy. No excuse. It's fucking evil to say, oh yes, just clean living will cure cancer. That is fucked, because cancer is shit. Cancer is just awful. And preying on the desperation of people with cancer is just fucking evil. So with all these scam artists in the world, I want to do something that changes it. That is a good question, Video Dude, and that's a question that I'll have to answer in 6 or 12 months. What would I do for that change? If I get to the point, like if I lose 30 kilos after a year, say, and there's a few other things I have in mind of doing, I would like to keep doing it. Hey, like I said, if weird scam artist freaks like David Avocado Wolf can make money with lies, maybe I can turn a real thing to profit. Maybe I can make something. Hey, maybe I'll get a book deal. Unlike Belle Gibson's mate, that chef guy, Pete, what's his name? Who wanted to put out a baby cookbook, paleo cooking for babies, and it had to be stopped because doctors said that paleo broth you're saying to feed to babies instead of breast milk will actually kill babies. You would be responsible for babies dying if you publish this book. And good old Pete's going, what? Me? Kill babies? No! Paleo's real. And as a few people have commented, that whole paleo bullshit, it's like, if you're going to talk about something being healthy and good for you, you probably don't want to name after a period in history where the life expectancy of Paleolithic human ancestors was probably about 20 to 25 years, and infant mortality was probably about 75%. Oh, we're going to pick on Nestle as well, with selling breast milk in places where the water is so contaminated that it's going to kill babies. Maybe I will write a book video, do you see that? That's the idea. My goal would be to, I guess, essentially show by example how this can help. No one, and I'll stress that front, no one thing works for everyone. Some stuff that will work for one group of people, or even for a majority of people, won't work for everyone. It's kind of like when you see those bullshit memes of a picture of some antidepressants and a picture of the forest, and the forest says, "This is a real antidepressant," and the antidepressant drugs says, "This is a lifelong addiction." It's like, fuck you, you smug fucking shitheads. Antidepressants literally save people's lives. They don't work for everyone. And in fact, if you get the wrong medication, it can make a situation worse. The awful thing is that sometimes you don't know that an antidepressant's wrong for you until after you take it. AngryAussie's had this thing where he took antidepressants and it was completely the wrong one for him, and it full-on put suicidal ideation into his head, and that's really wrong, obviously. But no one thing works for everyone, but there are lots of different things that can work, and particularly this whole thing with the tapping EFT as part of a health program, as a mental health program, can be incredibly helpful. Now, I haven't looked at Wikipedia for a while. Video Dude will save me eventually. I haven't looked at Wikipedia for a while, but their entries on EFT were outdated. They're very disparaging, like, oh, it's hocus pocus, it's no better than the placebo effect, it's a scam. But it's actually being studied in universities, and there's extremely compelling evidence that it definitely works, and it's not placebo effect. It definitely works. Bye, Video Dude. AngryAussie's not great. He has physical problems. Like, he's still got all these teeth out. It's still quite funny talking to him because he tries very hard to articulate, but every now and then you go, oh, that's right, you've got no teeth. That's why you sound funny. And he is still having issues with anxiety that's making it difficult for him to leave his flat. He's working on both. I don't think he's in much pain anymore from having all his teeth out. He does want to have a long, angry rant at one point about what a fuck up it was having his teeth taken out, and how medical authorities really don't have their shit together all that well. But, you know, that will come with time. So, look, you know, AngryAussie's as well as you could expect someone to be who's had decades of chronic health problems, whose internal organs were almost liquefied by one of his serious illnesses. And, you know, he's had chronic crippling pain for a couple of decades, well, over a decade, because of arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis. So the poor bastard's pretty knocked about, essentially. Yes. Although the other thing I'll say, EFT tapping. When I did it live and when I've done a pre-recorded video, I do preface it with saying, look, I don't blame you if you are very skeptical about it. Because you should be. If you don't have your skeptic goggles on, people will sell you shit. And I fully admit how weird it is, like, because both the videos I did, it was about eating. And I started off with something, you know. The last one I did was tuna, canned tuna, which I really don't like. I thought it was awful. And started like smell, how much out of 10 do you want to eat this? 1, it's gross, I don't want to eat it at all. And within like half an hour, I'm saying like, this is 8 or 9 out of 10 tasty, this is really yummy. That would obviously be trivially easy to fake. We could just start with something that I already liked, but I could lie and go, ew, gross, I don't like that. So there is somewhat of a leap of faith involved in believing me at all. And I would also say, well, don't believe me, I would provide links to the university studies that are going on that show the effectiveness of it and the way it can be effective. Oh, and great big asterisk, like anything that is different or new, like, you know, outside of the what everyone knows as the mainstream, it attracts some loonies. Like, you do not have to go far online. There's probably videos of it on YouTube of people ascribing some really loony things to it. Like, again, the typical thing, everyone's saying like, cures cancer. There's probably people who are saying EFT cures cancer, which it doesn't, okay? It's a psychological treatment. It's not a physical treatment. There are definitely, I've seen Mrs. Angry pointed out to me these loonies saying things about doing EFT on their pets, like they're changing their pets' behavior. You seriously, you don't have to go far to find people saying really loony things. But that is basically true of pretty much anything. I would challenge you, I don't think there's any sort of treatment or technology that there aren't loonies saying really out there things about it. Take it all with a grain of salt. And admittedly, the stuff that I'm going to do, stuff I've already done and showed, but the stuff that I'm going to do, oh, you've got to go, Ori? Okay, well, you were the first in, so it's quite reasonable for you to have to duck out. See you another time, hopefully. Oh, my drink's gone. I think I need another drink. Where's my lemonade? It's just here. How much of it is left? A little bit. Do that. Maybe a little additive. Don't tell anyone. It's a secret. Ooh, that was a bit more than I expected, but say la vie. I'll survive. Yeah, anti-schwager, it's, I believe it is actually based, like there are particular points you touch. Okay, I need some more ice and some more lemonade. Okay, that's okay. You see the fridge there, that's where my ice is. Let's get some ice, let's get some ice. And some lemonade. All right. So, top up my drink. There we go. Oh, good. Franco Man 2000. Did I miss something, Peter? Who's got an unsubtle username? Oh, you just got the notification, Celtic King. Well, I'm glad you were watching Twitter or Facebook or whatever it was that told you I was here. Some people get the YouTube notification straight away. Sometimes. YouTube's not always great at notifying people, which sucks more than a little bit. Get all the trouble of getting people to subscribe and then YouTube's not fantastic about it. Oh, someone has the... Wait, okay. That sounds like someone that I blocked before. Ooh, that's good. So what? It just means you're a sad little child, okay? The swastika Nazi username just means you're a sad little child who thinks you're edgy and tough and cool, and you're just a really pathetic sad little child. And I mean, I just feel sorry for you. There's like, you have an outgrown. I mean, unless you're in high school. I did that shit in high school. I dressed up as Hitler for my final day of school. I swear to God, I've admitted that before. But if you're in high school, you're an idiot. I was an idiot in high school. So, if you're in high school, I think you can get away with doing stupid things because you're an idiot when you're in high school. How old are you, swastika Nazi? Just so I know how much to pity you. But yeah, that'll probably... See, everyone... This is one thing I get. Okay, see? You're being a 17-year-old. You're being a 17-year-old edgelord. It's like... You'll hopefully be really embarrassed about what a complete cockhole you were at 17. As you're saying, you wouldn't dress up as Hitler. I dressed up as Hitler for my final day of school. We did the whole thing. Our muck-up day was Nazi Germany themed. And to us, it was a joke about school being Nazi Germany. But I fucking dressed up as Hitler. What? Who does that? Who actually does that? I did that. So, and my excuse was I was a fucking moron. I said I hadn't studied history. I didn't do history at school. I was aware of Hitler and I was aware of things. What sort of idiot does that? This sort of idiot. I was aware of Hitler and the Holocaust, but I had no real intrinsic understanding of the horror that was Nazi Germany and the Holocaust. I didn't really feel what it was. I had no real connection to it. I hadn't really understood it because I was a fucking idiot. Yeah, see, Toby? But I didn't... Okay, you say you almost got expelled for dressing up like an SS soldier. I didn't get into anything remotely like trouble. It wasn't even controversial. This was in a country town like 30 years ago. No one gave a shit. Nobody gave a shit. It never occurred to any of us that this was a bad thing to do. It never occurred to us at all that this was a bad thing to do because we were all fucking idiots. Little bloody insular idiots in our own little world, didn't know anyone Jewish, didn't really have any visceral understanding of World War II, the Nazis or the Holocaust. So it was just a big fucking... And it is what these alt-right soft cocks do now. So I'm being edgy and getting up people's nose and upsetting them because I'm really edgy. You're a moron. You've got the mentality of 17-year-old. Oh, Charlie Chaplin. That's a joke I've seen online. Like, I'm sure most people are aware of Chaplin's film The Little Dictator. That was a very obvious rip on Hitler. The cartoonist Jonan Vasquez, who invented Invader Zim, among other things, his Twitter avatar for years has been a photo of Charlie Chaplin as the great dictator, and he has so much fun when people think that's a Hitler avatar and they want to rant and rave about how dare you, your avatar is disgusting. And he's like, why do you hate Charlie Chaplin so much? He's a legend. Why would you hate him? Yeah, I had fun making fun of the idiots upset. Because apparently the new Wolfenstein is an alternate history one set in America run by Nazis. Like the Nazis won World War II. And it's set in an America run by Nazis. So you end up, you're machine gunning a bunch of blonde American Nazis. And that really upsets the actual Hitler worshippers in America at the moment. Okay, good. Biori, tell me, what's your serious problem with the game? Let's have a discussion on it. What the fuck is the... I haven't seen the trailer. Is there a monkey cat in it? It's probably just a Nazi experiment. The Nazis were into experiments. I don't know. Oh my God. Okay, this just reminded me of a Nazi story, but completely bleak. Back in the 80s and 90s, I used to regularly get the 2000 AD comics. This is the comic that Judge Dredd comes from. You might know Judge Dredd. But there was 4 or 5 different stories in each issue of 2000 AD. There'd be one Judge Dredd story and 3 or 4 other ones. Some of them would be one-shots and some of them would be extended threads. And one really good one they had that had a few long story arcs was a superhero story called Zenith. He was like, in the 80s, he was Rick Astley with superpowers. So he's a shallow git who did awful pop music, but he happened to have superpowers. And the lineage of these genetically engineered superhumans went right back to the Nazis in World War II. There was the Nazis had a superhuman, and the Brits also had one, and they fought. And it turns out the Nazi superhuman was actually controlled by malevolent alien intelligence, and he was much more powerful than the British superhuman. But the Americans dropped a nuke on them anyway, dropped a nuke on Berlin rather than Nagasaki in this alternate history. So that killed that superhuman. But, you know, the Nazis like to experiment on twins, and they had this twin of the superhuman on ice for decades, and he comes back in the 80s and Zenith has to fight a Nazi Superman. It's really good. And why that's never been a movie, I'll never know. 2080's ABC series. Do you mean the ABC Warriors? See, there's the thing. Okay, they finally did a good Judge Dredd movie, the one with Carl Urban, but for some reason it wasn't a commercial success. It was a great movie. They're now talking about making a prestige TV series of Judge Dredd, which would be cool. But there are so many other good stories in 2008. They must have the worst marketing department in the world. Why they haven't made movies of Zenith, ABC Warriors, Nemesis the Warlock, Halo Jones, Rogue Trooper. The dozens and dozens of stories they've run over the years that are really good, that are all like movie ready. But they've never made any. Like there was that really shitty Stallone Judge Dredd movie in the 90s. But the one from a couple of years ago with Carl Urban, Dredd, if you haven't seen it, see it. It's really good. We said that, oh, eviscerated, that's what I said. Someone gave me that idea and I used it in a video. The best DLC for the Wolfenstein set in Nazi America would be if you got a perfect score on a particular side mission for punching Richard Spencer in the face. Like, you could shoot him or blow him up or whatnot, but you get the maximum points for run up and just punching him in the face. That would make the whole game worth buying if they had that as a side mission in it. Hello there, Cliff Jumper. Just doing my Rick and Morty because I'm drinking wine out. Well, Rick, I should say. Speaking of which, I finally watched that new episode. I noticed the Rick and Morty people don't make any effort to take down videos from YouTube, because I think you can watch basically every episode of Rick and Morty on YouTube for free. And I watched that one they released on whenever they did, April Fool's or whenever they did. Finally watched it, and they're about to bring out the whole new series next month. Well, this month, actually, I think in the States. Don't know when it'll get to Australia. But that was pretty good. Like, one thing I like about Rick and Morty is the way they layer stuff. And that new episode was pretty good. Like how Rick's gonna get out of prison. And the way they layer it, like what's really going on and what's the real motivation and where's it really going. They really did a good job with that. I was pretty goddamn impressed. So So I'll be very interested to see what the next season's like. And the quest for the sweet, sweet Szechuan sauce. Like, what was that? Are they trying to get marketing there? Video dude, if you could jump off the moon's surface with enough velocity to break its gravitational field, and if your trajectory is pointing straight at Earth and you got caught in Earth's gravity, you could definitely crash into Earth and die. Unless you had severe protection, of course, you'd burn up on re-entry. But assuming you survived re-entry, all you need is enough velocity. You need to jump off the moon with enough force to break the moon's gravitational pull and have your trajectory point you at Earth, and you would die when you hit Earth. Once Earth's gravity got you, that would be the end of you. Was I supposed to be funny then? I'm not sure, but that's definitely, if you could jump off the moon with enough gravity, that would. This is true. I'm a sci-fi nerd, as is pretty obvious from anyone who's sort of had conversations with me and whatnot. When I was a kid, I used to read all the classic sci-fi. I like H.G. Wells, Arthur C. Clarke. Video dude, it's the only thing that you'd need is enough force, and a scientist would tell you the amount of force you would need to break the moon's gravitational pull. I don't know. I'll throw that out there, that I have no idea how much force you need to break the moon's gravitational pull. But anyway, I read H.G. Wells as a kid. Obviously, War of the Worlds is what got me in. But I had like a H.G. Wells collection. And in the collection was First Men on the Moon. And that's an interesting, weird book. These guys get to the moon because a sort of mad scientist type has discovered an element that's transparent to gravity, and he forms this capsule that has this element in various sealed compartments, and as he exposes each compartment, it pushes away from gravity in that direction. So that's how he takes off from Earth, and that's how he steers it towards the moon, by using these this element that reacts against gravity. And it gets him to the moon, and of course there are beings on the moon, and the humans get taken captive by these beings on the moon. But Wells was aware the moon would have lower gravity because it's a smaller sphere, and so it's lighter gravity there. And at one point, when the humans are in chains and being poked by these aliens, one of them gets pushed too far and sort of says, "Stop it," and punches the guy who's poking him with a spear. And because the gravity's much lighter on the moon, their bone structure and musculature is quite weak compared to humans, and he punches straight through the moon dude's head, and he suddenly realizes, like, oh, I'm way stronger than them, and he just fucking lays waste to him and kills all the moon dudes who had them prisoner. It's a bit of a weird book. Then again, H.G. Wells was a bit of a weird dude. Yeah, H.G. Wells was into, free love, open relationships, polygamy, orgies, I think, and drugs. And he was a Fabian socialist, which is a sort of upper class socialist who thinks, yes, socialism is the way to go, but the working of socialism is beyond the poor, dumb working class. So the working class need the upper class who believe in socialism to go the way. Anti-Schwager, I'd be way keen in any new music you had. Joe Will, I'm talking about the H.G. Wells novel First Men on the Moon, and also about H.G. Wells and how he was into kinky sex and orgies and polygamy and open relationships and droogs, and he was a Fabian socialist. His other novel, one of his lesser known ones, Food of the Gods, is a Fabian socialist fable. Video dude, incest is awesome. Go you. let's just park that over. We'll park that over here, and we'll leave that to the side. You know, not judging. I'm judging, but although I did see someone ask an interesting question on Twitter the other day, because, okay, various porn categories, you get, you know, daddy-daughter porn categories, or son and stepmother, and it's always stepdad and stepmother. And this person's posing like, okay, we know it's porn, okay, we know they're acting, so why do they have to act as stepmom and stepdad? Why don't they just say mum and dad? We know it's not real, it's porn. So why are they doing stepmom and stepdad instead of just saying mum and... It was an interesting question. When you know it's fake, why do they fake it stepmom? I think you're right, Mike, it's a legal question. If you actually were seen to be... Because incest is illegal, and if you're seen to be promoting it, maybe it's... I don't know. But I thought that was a reasonable question. I thought that was... When you know it's not real, what does it matter? Sportsman's double. Oh God, Joe Will, what is the joke? I just feel this is going to be incredibly questionable. What's the joke about the sportsman's double? This will be fun for people watching it back later, because they won't see your text. Yeah, I'm guessing it's a bad joke, Joe. I'm guessing that it's at best questionable and at worst so morally reprehensible that there should be jail time involved. But anyone watching this back later, they won't see your text. This will just be down to whether I choose. You can see me doing porn. Good on you, video. Dude, okay, here we go. Guy met a middle-aged woman at a bar and asked if he had had a sportsman double. Okay. Mike once open-mouth kissed a horse. See, they don't see what you write, but they see if I say that you said it. That's the enigma that is these videos. Oh. All right, so it's asking if it had a sportsman's double. We need the next line, Joe, because I have not heard this joke. This one I do not know. But not to say I don't know incredibly questionable jokes. I went to Catholic school. We used to tell the worst jokes. There's nothing else. So the guy asked what it was. She told him it's mum and her daughter in a sex session. Okay, a sportsman's double is doing the mum and daughter in the same session. Okay, is that the punchline or is there more? Puggy White, I've already said what the secret project is. I will talk about it some more. Watch these projects. Yeah. Okay, all right, so the sportsman doubles joke so far is... A middle-aged woman approaches a guy at the bar and said, have you ever had a sportsman's double? He says, what is a sportsman's double? He said, that's a sex act where you get on with the mother and the daughter at the same time. So he thinks, okay, I'm off with her. I'm going back to her place. Now I'm waiting for Joe to update us with the next line from the joke. I know. This is going to be the aristocrats. And after we do the sportsman's double joke, I will explain the aristocrats for anyone who... That is interesting, I see. David Simon, who did the Wire, is going to do... Okay, Joe's got another line. When they get there, she opens the front door and yells... That's actually pretty good. Okay, now I'm going to do it all in one go. This is Joe's joke about the sportsman's double. Guy's at a bar, middle-aged woman approaches him and she goes, have you ever done the sportsman's double? And the guy says, I don't think I have. What's a sportsman's double? And she said, that's where you have sex with the mother and the daughter at the same time. Would you like to join me for a sportsman's double? And he's like, yeah, I would. Let's do it. Let's go back to your place now. We'll do the sportsman's double. And she goes, okay. They go back to her place and the woman opens the front door and goes, Mom, are you ready? I've got to take her. See, that is a classic joke. That's misdirection. That's expectation is going in one direction and you go over here. That's a classic joke. You set things to go up one way and you jag off over here. That's classic humor. I'm going to now... Video dude likes to listen to the live streams while masturbating. See, that is perfectly acceptable. Okay, there's a series coming out called The Juice that's about the porn industry going through the 70s to 80s. But that's been done. It has to be better than Boogie Nights. Boogie Nights was pretty good. And that's the thing. Okay, Bureau, you make a good point. The joke would be funnier if the guy was into it. Okay, I'm going to explain the aristocrats now. This is supposedly like a comedian's joke. The joke comedians tell you, because the only thing that's consistent is the punchline. What it is a guy goes into talent scout, an agent, whatever, he's saying, I'm trying to get signed up. And the agent says, well, what's your act? You know, this guy represents variety acts. He goes, well, I'll tell you. Now, you now try to make up the grossest, most disgusting things you can, like to do with sex and incest and animals and feces and bodily. And the joke with comedians is to take it as far as possible, to say the act involves the worst, most fucked up things imaginable, and you get extra points for taking it further than anyone else will. And so you describe the most disgusting thing you can imagine, and the longer you go on, the better. And after you finish the description, you got this, the agent goes, really? That's your act? What do you call it? The guy goes, The Aristocrats. So it's like this real non-joke, like something really disgusting has this upper class name, The Aristocrats. Like, it's not funny as such, but actually, Bury. Well, yeah, Crossed is The Aristocrats. For those who don't know, Crossed is a comic series that is deliberately as disgusting and vile as it could possibly be. And I mean, like, the webcomic of it starts in the first thing with this guy fucking a dolphin's blowhole. And the narrator saying, well, it's not every day you see a crazy bastard fucking a dolphin's blowhole, is it? It's like... it's about an infection. It's a pseudo-zombie apocalypse story. People get infected with this particular thing that makes blistering come out on their face. And the most common pattern of the blistering is a cross. It goes down here and across here, which is why it's called crossed. And basically you get... filled with this psychotic rage, you'll tear people apart, and it often has a sexual element to it. So the Crossed comics basically try to be as vile and disgusting, as awful as they possibly can. It's the weirdest thing is, like, if your reaction to the Crossed comics is, that's disgusting, that should be banned, you're wasting your time, because that's the reaction they're trying to provoke in you. So it's best to either just laugh at it or ignore it. Yeah, cliffhanger, you're right. The Aristocrats joke is a test of a comedian ad-libbing. AIDS's version of it, and he has told me the worst versions of this, because AIDSy was a stand-up comic, did a lot of tours and whatnot, and he said Australian comics, when they're on tour or when they're hanging out together, it's virtually their version of the Aristocrats is, this is how I know you're gay. And hello Adele, I didn't notice you. AIDSy is brilliant, you're absolutely right. And you win, this is how I know you're gay, by making the other guy laugh. And because half the comedians are gay anyway. But it's, you just try and say, like, oh, this is how I know you're gay, because you do this. And AIDSy was, I don't even want to say some of the things he said. This was about 15 years ago, 20 years ago, he was like known as the mayor of Wrongtown. Puggy, you were talking about ABC drama Glitch, and I haven't watched it. What are you saying? AZ would make you look very gay. AZ would try and make you look gay. Video dude, AZ's burning now. So oh dear. So yes. Yeah, I know, he's just being a tool, Bo. So AZ was known as the mayor of Wrongtown when he was doing, because he would do routines where he would just be telling the most awful story, but he would draw the crowd along and they would be on his side. He would be saying the worst stuff, but he'd tell the story. Yes, he is a video dude. AZ does in fact have some Aboriginal ancestry. AZ would tell the worst stories, but he would draw the audience along and they'd be able to say, how's he going with no teeth? Adele, I talked to him just yesterday, in fact, and it's still funny to hear him talk because he takes all this trouble to enunciate clearly, but you know he's talking like this. He got no teeth, but he's doing quite well. And hopefully he will be feeling well enough to come over, because it would be shit tons of laughs to have him on a live feed. That would just be so funny. He's promised me another video. I think he shot another video on his phone. He's trying to send it to me. So hopefully this week there'll be another AZ video on my channel sometime. And hopefully we'll get him on a live stream, because I just reckon he would be super funny on a live stream. Joe, I look forward to it too. I just think he would be really good on a live stream. It would be so hard. Okay, Adele, I'm just saying, you don't want to say lines like that around AZ about it being so hard, because he would then want to show you. There was a joke, I don't know if anyone here is a Scrubs fan. I like Scrubs. I think Scrubs is a good show. There was one bit, and one of my favourite bits was the stories that had Brendan Fraser in it. Brendan Fraser was one of my favourite characters in it, the storylines and whatnot. And there's that one bit when he's like, him and Perry haven't seen each other for a while ago. It's been so long. I really miss you. And they go in like they're going in for a kiss. And then at the last second, Dr. Cox pulls away and goes, "Oh!" And Brendan Fraser's character goes, "Yes! I am the king of gay chicken." And that became a thing for a while with young guys, particularly, gay chicken. And AZ's running joke was, I never get the chicken part. Like, you know, they go in for the kiss, I just grab them. And so he wins gay chicken because he doesn't get the chicken bit. And he doesn't let them chicken out either. So, you know, basically at your own risk do you do weird things around AZ. Because he will get weirder. I think you're right, RC. He should have an ABC arts program. AZ presenting the arts. We had this idea for a series because, while, you know, we've both been involved in the arts, neither of us is particularly fond of arts wankers. We had the idea for a series of videos of two guys who were curating the Kaysan Festival of Art What Looks Like stuff. Because we don't have time for arts wankers. Our art has to look like stuff. Oh God, the question about Ando's painting show. I love that. Ando's Brush with Fame. I really like that. I do watch that. That is a great show. If you're in Australia, or if you can get our ABC iView wherever you are and you've never seen it, Ando's Brush with Fame is really good. Ando is such a success story. He's a Vietnamese boat refugee, came to Australia as a refugee, He's become a really successful comedian and author, but he's also a really accomplished painter. He's had paintings in as a finalist in the most prestigious portraiture prize in Australian art, and he has this series on the ABC where he paints famous people, and it's called Ando's Brush with Fame. And it is really, Ando is an amazing guy. And he's a really good painter. I really enjoy the show. He interviews people, and he's really disarming, and he gets them to really tell some of their innermost secrets. It's really worth watching. Tim and Debbie. I love that. Remember, I don't know if you remember outside of Australia, yeah, Brain Space. And they presented some art house movies as well. They had this thing on the ABC where they would present these really wanky art house movies, like The Kid with Green Hair. They were great. Yeah, they did Doldrum. Tim and Debbie were very fun. And because I was at college at the time that Tim and Debbie were on TV, so I was seeing Tim and Debbie wankers around me all the time. And it was freaking brilliant. Mad as Hell and Not Gonna Take It Anymore. I like Mad as Hell. I like Sean McAuliffe. I always feel like people haven't quite got the right show for him. By Celtic King, I will pass on your love to AZ. And Charlie Pickering's show, The Weekly, I really enjoy. He has good people working with him. Charlie Pickering. Actually, here's a secret. AZ, after he was a comedian, he got rheumatoid arthritis and he wasn't physically able to do the whole comedy circuit thing, which is fairly punishing. And so for a while, he was like a mentor and director for young comedians. He would train them, he would teach them the tools of the trade. Charlie Pickering was one of the people he trained. He actually directed Charlie Pickering in some early stuff. Bo Wentworth, I think they should have me on The Weekly, quite honestly. Although they got Briggs is so funny on The Weekly. I love his segments on The Weekly. See, when AZ got really sick a couple of years ago, like about, I think it was 8 years ago, he almost died, and he had all these medical bills, and he had, there was a benefit held for him, and it was all the people he'd worked with and all the people he'd mentored. So the fucking list on this, it was Charlie Pickering, it was Peter Hellier, it was about half a dozen other named ones, and the fun fact was Rove McManus, because he'd worked with Rove McManus. It was this huge cast of stars doing a benefit for AZ. It was awesome. And yes, I have seen black comedy. Like most sketch shows, for me at least, some of black comedy I laugh uproariously at, and some others don't. And I think the different people, different things work for them. Like just because I say, okay, I like that sketch and I didn't like that sketch so much, there'll be someone else who go, no, that sketch was the best and I didn't like that one at all. But that's what a group sketch comedy show is about. You have the different things, and different things are going to appeal to different people. Yes, Psychic Fair cancelled due to unforeseen circumstances. See, Shelf, here's the thing. Comedy and entertainment generally is incredibly subjective. And if you didn't like the show Black Comedy, that's not necessarily any reflection on you or the show. It's you didn't like it. And that is an absolutely legitimate response. As like people who... But I'll tell you what does get me, and this is not... I don't feel like this is what you're doing, but people who go for a very popular show, like say... And something that's got some artistic merit, like, say, Game of Thrones or whatever, and they probably go, I've never watched it at all. Well, fine. So what? What do you want? Fucking... As we used to say as a kid, what do you want? A medal or a chest to pin it on? People who try to big note themselves by what they don't like, that's pathetic. So if you don't like something, that's completely legitimate. Entertainment and art is subjective. And are you talking about my booze collection, Wit? It is a good collection. Cliff Jumper, Jim Jeffries is capable of being good. I don't like everything he does, but he does do some good stuff. A medal or a cock to hang it off? but I'm not entirely sure you know how medals work. I'm just going to say, see, when I was a kid, we used to say, do you want a medal or a chest to pin it on? Because that's where medals go. When you're saying a medal or a cock to hang it off, I'm not completely sure you know how medals work. Just throwing that out there. What on earth is that noise? You probably can't hear it, but there's some... Oh, I think someone just flushed the toilet over. It's not all booze, by the way. Yes, I like Tim Minchin as well. That's booze. That's booze. Okay, most of it is booze. Most of it is booze. Yes, someone flushed a toilet over there. Something. Not all booze. Most of it's booze. That's juice. And that's just bitters. That's booze. And that's booze. Yeah, okay, that's booze. Yeah, no, well, this is a mixer. Joe, I might have given someone the shits, but no. I've got to have mixers as well, so, you know, they've got juice. Oh my God, Mike, you make that joke about Jews, but have you ever seen the webcomic Hipster Hitler? Which is a somewhat of a guilty pleasure in there, but someone's done this comic of Hipster Hitler, and he wears a t-shirt that says, because he thinks people have got him wrong, and although I think he misunderstands what people are saying about him, and so he has a t-shirt that says, I love juice, as in orange juice. It's like, no, Hipster Hitler, that's not what people are saying about you. They are not saying you hate juice. That is not what they're saying at all. I'm not sure if that... I haven't looked at that for ages. I'm not sure if the person who did Hipster Hitler is still doing it. That also Broseph Stalin, where Stalin is a frat boy. Chappelle Show, Joe. I love Chappelle Show. See you later, Pat, man. You only have to worry... Okay, you don't have to worry if you have a thing that pours gin continually. No, not continually. Just some of the time. So yes, I'm going to make some flavored stuff because I got some flavored stuff from a cake shop. It's meant for flavoring cakes, but I'm going to use it on some vodka. I got a little concentrated, one's marshmallow flavor and one is popcorn flavor. So I'm going to have marshmallow flavor vodka and popcorn flavor vodka. Yes, but we're talking about Chappelle's Show. The Black White Supremacist was a very funny sketch. Dave Chappelle was very good at messing with people's head. Oh yes, Biori, have I heard the definition of bro flakes? Yes, I have. And doesn't that... I've seen that circulating online in the last week or so, and doesn't it upset the bro flakes though? It's like... I like the final payoff in the Black White Supremacist on Chappelle's Show because the guy was blind and he was an orphan put in a blind kid's orphanage, and everyone else was white. And in the South, he was black, but he didn't know he was black, and none of the other kids knew he was black, and no one told him he was black. It was in the South, and they were all racist, so he became really racist. And so he spent his whole life as a racist white supremacist because he didn't know he was black. And at the end, when it was finally revealed to him that he was black because he was married to a white woman, he ended up divorcing his wife of 40 years. And the interviewer said, like, why did you divorce your wife after all this time? He said, because I couldn't stand being with a nigger lover. And it was like... And it was a really good example. He just showing the absurdism of white supremacists is brilliant. Does anyone remember Mugabe Falls and the memes it spawned? I do not remember Mugabe Falls. I do not know what that's about. You could enlighten me, perhaps. I assume that's about Robert Mugabe in Zimbabwe. God, is there any better example of a fallen man of the people? Like, Mugabe was part of the resistance movement in Rhodesia, and the Rhodesian regime needed to be overthrown. and he was a freedom fighter, and he was a man of the people, and he rose to power, and he became an asshole almost straight away. And he is bloody responsible for the collapse of Zimbabwe, just for a series of stupid decisions. Whereas you look at the difference with South Africa, while not being perfect, worked at reconciliation and worked at continuing to flourish. And Mugabe, just after the initial success of Zimbabwe, just played this weird favoritism and made these stupid judgments like against white farmers without thinking any long term about, well, someone needs to know how to farm and whatnot. And he turned into such an arsehole. Oh, right, okay. Tendai, I thought when you said Mugabe falls, I was immediately thinking of a waterfall. I didn't know why. Yes, but Mugabe, because he's quite old and somewhat infirm, yes, he fell at one point, and that was caught on camera, and Mugabe tried to demand that, you know, no one was ever allowed to show that. So, of course, everyone did it. Streisand effect kicked in big time. And everyone was sharing pictures and video of Mugabe. Why do people do that? It's like, if something like that happens, the thing you don't do is say, this upsets you and you shouldn't share it. It's you just go, okay, people are going to do that. I can't control it, whatever. You don't say, I'm very angry and upset at you for doing that. You must not do that. I will take legal action against you. No, it doesn't work that way. That makes it worse. I can't believe people keep making that mistake. Like, there's one poor bastard. There's a friend of mine who's a cartoonist called Dave Blumenstein, and he does some really good stuff. And he did this great one about this guy. This guy used to do these anti-corporate cartoons. Basically, he thought he was almost like a conservative libertarian, and he's doing these things about the government and the banks would screw people over, and that was his politics, and he's quite good. And some 4chan types got it, and they just started adding blatantly anti-Semitic imagery to this guy's cartoons, and people thought these really vile anti-Semitic cartoons were this guy's original cartoons. They didn't realize that they'd been fucked with by 4chan, and this guy made the mistake of going public and saying the 4chan people had really upset him by doing that. What do people on 4chan do if you tell them what they're doing upsets you? They do it more, and they get more extreme. You never tell them that it upsets you. So, like, you know, how Pepe became the logo of the Hitler-loving alt-right wanktards. You know, and Pepe was so innocent before they latched on to him. And I understand being upset if you created it. And I think the guy who created Pepe is handling it fairly well. But yeah, you don't tell them that they've upset you, because they'll get worse. It's like, that's the only reason I taunt Trump. Trump supporters go like, oh, you're just bitter. You're upset that he won the election. Well, yeah, I am upset he won the election, but I don't deny he won the election and he is the president and all that stuff. It's just that he is so obviously upset by people making fun of him that I do it. And his supporters get upset when you make fun of him, so I do it. Whereas, when you look at the way Obama handled evil, racist shit that was done at him, he just said, look, people are going to say stuff. I've got a job to do. People will always say stuff. It's about free speech. Can't spend time on that. I've got a job to do. Whereas Trump fumes and carries on like a complete fucking tool. So it's fun to bait him because him and his supporters get so worked up about it. You know, it's as simple as that. So I'm almost finished my drink. I think I'm going to wrap up when I finish my drink. I don't hear into my Star Trek. So I think It might be bedtime for this old man. I know, you're right, Cliff Jumper. Trump is so thin-skinned, it's hilarious. And his supporters are so thin-skinned. And they're both so detached from reality as well. Oh God, Peter Trump, Mark Latham is such a fuckwit. Or Joe Will, yes, Trump would be funny if he wasn't president. No, it's not. I'm not quite on you. I've got a little bit of drink to go. Talk Pugs into watching Johnny dangerously. Okay, Puggy Winkles. My secret project, because there's probably people in here who weren't here when I talked about this. My secret project is basically me. So I'm going to shock you now because you get to actually see me physically on these videos, so you won't have realised I am a fat bastard, and I'm also not young, and for my health and other just general well-being and vitality reasons, I need to lose weight, quite a bit of it. So I have a project. The project is me, and I'm working with Mrs. Angry, who's a psychologist counsellor, turning my life around, basically. I'm using this process that's called EFT, or tapping, and I've done videos on this. I've shown you can use it for really mundane things like food, but a lot of issues with weight gain are psychological. It's how you look at things, it's how you look at yourself, and so we're going to look at tapping. I've already I started this project on the weekend, and this will be a long term, because obviously to lose the weight, it's going to take like 6 months to a year to lose as much weight as I need to. But it's not just going to be about weight. It's going to be about my psychological outlook. I'm going to look about things about being positive, getting more motivation and doing things. And I'm going to put together a body of videos and I'm going to share them. It's going to be like secret until I get to a certain point, like probably about 2 months in. So when I can see, because what I want is to be a positive message for people, because there are so many scammers in the world. People shysters like with their miracle diets or their this treatment or these crystals, like scumbags like David Avocado Wolf, or that girl who pretended to have cancer and then said her clean leaving cleaner, or all these people who push complete bullshit and make money out of people with their bullshit. I want to do something that's actually real and works, and show people how much difference this can make. Like if you find a proper practitioner to work with, because while the actual technique seems fairly straightforward, because you literally, it's called tapping because you tap. You set up here and then you tap these points on your body while you're talking about things, and change how you feel about things. That's what you're basically doing. The joke I make with Mrs. Angry when she does it with me is it's her secret devil brain magic, because it literally changes how you think about things. It's a really good example of the plasticity of the brain, because anyone who says this to me, like, okay, I'm 50, right? And when I'm talking about changing eating habits, I mean eating habits of my whole life. I went my whole life without eating vegetables. Like, my eating habits were terrible. And I've done this tapping on things, like focusing on one thing at a time. And now I will eat raw onion, capsicum, carrot, tomato, zucchini, and a few other things. Oh, we did tuna on one of the live streams. We did tuna because I always thought canned tuna was gross. So really going to explore how I can turn my life around with this. Like, weight loss will be the most obvious one, but that won't be all of it. It'll be a whole bunch of other things. And I really want to show people, look, no one thing works for everyone. No one thing cures everything. But this is a really underrated technique and a not very well known technique. And there are university studies being now that show that it works. I'm going to be like, you know, Angry sorts your shit out for you. And I'll start by sorting my shit out. That's what I want. I want to be the advertisement for it, basically. I want to show the change that I can bring about, and hopefully just let people know you can get quite significant change in your life by doing this. So that's what it's going to be. Angry sorts your shit out. And I'll start by sorting my shit out, because I've got a bit of shit to sort out. And this is one of the interesting ones I want to explore. We're going to do a lot of the early stuff will focus on weight loss things, looking at self-image, why you eat, getting past bad habits and all this sort of thing, and changing your mindset about when and why you eat and that sort of thing. But one of the other ones I want to do, I want to explore if I can change my mind, because when I make the angry videos, like, that's an act, it's performance. I normally mean the stuff I say, but the really over the top angry shouting, that's performance. But see, some people, I find myself, I just can't talk to them, like men's rights activists or global warming deniers, or various people just shit me so much, I just can't talk to them. And one of the things I work on, can I do the tapping to have a less visceral reaction to people? And what I want to more or less develop a generic routine. And I hope this will work, like, you know, where the anti-feminists just refuse to even listen to feminists. And I have so much trouble even engaging, like, with global warming deniers or whatnot. But just doing this thing about tapping on, even though this person makes me really angry, I'm okay with that. And I want to open dialogue of, if I can do a little bit for myself and for other people, to say, like, this is how you can get past. You know, sometimes, like, if you have to go to your family at Christmas or whenever, and philosophy, you're saying it, some of your family are global warming deniers, and well, they might be, you know, misogynists or bigots, racists, homophobes, whatever, and you have to be around them. Actually having a technique that helps you manage that. Wherever you are on the spectrum, if there's a technique that could help you manage, okay, this person makes me really angry, but I need to interact with them and engage them. Doing this, as weird as that sound, can help you do that. So that's one of the things I'm going to do. So in short, my secret project is to turn my life around and then become your messiah, and you follow me slavishly. So that's what I'll be working on. I will be a new age guru and publish books and be on TV and make a lot of money. So that's what's going to happen. I will be my messiah and you will worship me. Anyway, for now, I'm going to finish for this evening. Thank you very much for joining me on the little journey tonight. I'll be back later in the week, either with another pre-recorded video or another live stream. Certainly as soon as I can get Aidsy over here, we'll be on here. Maybe on the weekend, you know, might do it in the middle of the day, local time, so people in different time zones can get in. Wait a sec, that was interesting. What was that? Dad's been listening to the Holy Holly. I don't know them, sorry. I've probably heard them, but I don't know them enough to make... Anyway, good night, everyone. Thank you very much for joining me. I will see you again later. Bye now.